Hello, this is part one of the EPS problem where you're going to calculate basic earnings per share. So let me start on the instructions page. You should have this document. This is all the information overview for this Excel EPS project. All right, so let's go to this assumptions page, and I have all the steps for you. You need to make an assumption for the shares repurchased on April 1st. You need to decide whether you're going to do cumulative or non-cumulative, doesn't matter. You need to choose a dividends declared, so that would be for common and preferred dividends, the total dividend. You'll have to calculate the preferred dividend and the earnings per share preferred dividend adjustment, which may be different later. Choose a conversion ratio for bond A, choose a conversion ratio for bond B. Do not change the tax rate. Everything will be based off a 40% tax rate. So this assumption is here just so all the assumptions are in one place. And this dashboard is for the end of the project where you're going to use test as you change these assumptions. You'll be able to see how all these things change in one place. All right, and the exact directions for choosing are right here. Then you're going to calculate basic weighted average share and then basic EPS. So I don't know if I'll make it through the whole thing, but I will definitely get through basic weighted average shares in this video. I like to keep the videos a little shorter, so they're kind of easier to find stuff. But let's start with assumptions. And as with my other videos, I may go a little quickly, but you can pause and go back and go over it because the focus of this video is just in terms of getting the Excel done. All right, so you have your assumptions here, which force you to pick different kind of numbers. I'm just going to use the round numbers because these are assumptions that you cannot use. Okay, so we'll start with, actually I'm going to start with 4 million shares repurchased. I'm going to go ahead and do non-cumulative because that's a little more interesting. Let's see, dividends declared between 4 and 20. Let me choose 12 million. Conversion ratio between 30 and 60. Yours isn't supposed to end in 0, so we'll use 30. And conversion ratio, ration. That's not totally right. Ratio assumption between 20 and 50 for the other one. I'll just throw a 50 in there. Okay, so those are all our assumptions. So now we can go to basic weighted average shares. So I gave you the beginning and the first issuance here, but I say for format the time weighting column first. And right now, let's see, it's 1/2, so that's 1 month. So that is 1/12, and I have it formatted as a number. So the first thing I want to do is format as a fraction. And I look in the fractions, and I don't have a 12th here. Okay, so I'm going to pick an 1/8, and then I'm going to go back, format, custom, and it gives the structure, and then I change it to 12. That's it. That's how you get there. And then what I'm going to do is copy, paste the format. Whoops. And I missed that one, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, so that should be taken care of. Complete the time weighting factor column. So instead of rushing into filling all this share information, I always do the time weighting first because it's one of those places where you could count wrong and you should set that out first. So 1 month, January only, then February and March, so that should be 2/12. Okay, then April, looks like another 1/12. May, another 1/12. And let me see, 6, 7, 8, 9, is that right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, all of June, July, August, and September. That looks like 4/12. All right, and October and November, so 2/12. Whoops, wrong cell, 2/12. And then just December is 1/12. And I'm just going to do a quick check for myself to make sure all these weights, whenever you have a weighted average, any weighted anything, all the weights should add up to 1. And there it is. Let me make sure. Go. Okay, so that looks good. All right, now the shares outstanding plus the change equals the new shares outstanding. So this is 8 million plus 4 million. And then, oh, darn it, I was gonna, if you hit that little corner, it puts the formula in all the other ones. But this is merged, so I can't do it. Anyway, I was gonna be really cool, but it's not working. Okay, so I'm gonna copy, paste, and I'm just gonna paste the formula. All right, so now this 4-1, I just remember that it's this assumption here. So, and it's a repurchase. So actually what I have to do is minus, because they're buying those back. Okay. And let's see, so what is 5-1? I gotta go to the instructions. There's a 2-for-1 split on 5-1. So we're gonna have a stock split and a stock dividend. If you start with 8 million and you're going to have a 2-for-1 split, you're going to end up with double the number of shares. So what I'm going to do is the change is equal to 1 times, and the 1 is kind of ridiculous, but if it was a 3-to-1, I would take, well, let me do it this way. It's a 2-for-1 split, so the change is the factor minus 1 times the base. So you end up with 16, okay? It is a little silly because you have a 2-for-1 split, you know, if you start with 8, you're going to end up with 16. I'm just putting it in here for 2 reasons with this little formula. The first one is just to be consistent in having a change in shares, so I don't leave that blank, but also to contrast it with the stock splits, or excuse me, the stock dividends that we're going to do in just a second. Let me double check this. 6-1 bonds are converted for 3 million, and then we bought back 10 million, so that all looks good. And this is a stock dividend. Oh, it's a 20% stock dividend. Okay, so if it's 20% stock dividend, that means you're going to distribute on a pro rata basis 20% of the shares outstanding. So it's 0.2 times 19 million. Okay, so that's that. On another note, that means that where you end up is 100% plus 20% times 19 million equals the 22.8. So a stock dividend tells you the percent change, and a stock split tells you where you're going to end up. Okay, now so 2-for-1 split. So here's the rule: every row above the stock split multiply by the stock split factor. Every row above the stock split multiply by the stock split factor. Okay, so that would mean, and I'm going to all the way through here, and every row below is just 1. But now we also have this stock dividend. Every row above the stock dividend event multiplied by the stock dividend factor. Okay, so here's the question. You had a 20% stock split, but you ended up with 120%, the 22.8 million. So what do you multiply by? Well, we're multiplying by the stock, with the stock split factor is 2, you end up with double. So you want to adjust the stock dividend percentage so it's a proper factor, which means you have to add 100% to it. So everything above here is 1.2, 1.2, and now it gets confusing. Multiply every row above by the stock split or stock dividend factor. So you have to multiply it by 2 by 1.2. And this is the row where the stock split occurred. Okay. All right. And then here it's just shares outstanding times the time weighting factor times the stock split or stock dividend factor. Let's see, can I do this here? Oh, how sweet was that? That was awesome. So you just, let me show you that again, because if you haven't done this, you're going to love it. So to copy the formula all the way down here, just go to the corner and you double click. Now we don't want that formula in the last cell, because in the last cell, we just add up all the weights to get the total basic weighted average share. So 22,066,667 weighted average shares, common shares outstanding for basic EPS. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop here, and then the second video, we'll do the basic EPS calculation.